Look, last week we played Deal or No Deal, and today we're trying something new with franchise or failure, and we're talking about second-year quarterbacks. So, first quarterback, Jets, Zach Wilson.
Failure. I think, honestly, at this point, the Jets have a great supporting cast, but Zach Wilson is proving incapable of general reads. The game against the Patriots was a kind of boiling point here where he had multiple picks where he was trying to throw the ball away. I'm not seeing much flash here. I'm not seeing much promise here.
Yeah, failure. He sucks, not even in an interesting way. What are you going to do around this guy? He's Sam Darnold 2.0, and I'm sad to say it because dude throws a pretty 50-yard rainbow downfield, but he's awful right now.
All right, next up, we're looking at Chicago Bears, Justin Fields.
I'm going to go with franchise, and it's not just the bias. I'm liking what the Bears have done in reorganizing the offense around him. They're using his legs more. They're getting him to the edges more. He can get the edge on any NFL defender. He's looking like a legitimate franchise guy.
Yeah, franchise. I mean, his offensive line stinks, right? He's being sacked on 16% of his dropbacks. That's ridiculous. His supporting cast is garbage. Get him the help he needs. You got $20 million worth of cap space. You're going to have a top 15 pick. Beef up that offense for Justin Fields. For the love of God, give him something to work with.
Next up, we have the first overall pick, Trevor Lawrence.
I was going to say failure here, but I still think franchise. I think he's having a little bit of difficulty acclimating to Doug Peterson's offense. I'm going to preach a little bit more patience here. I think there's enough flashes there, at least from the early season, going to where we'll start to see Trevor Lawrence blossom soon.
Also going to go franchise on this one. Started out hot. Teams got used to him. Remember, this is a guy who was tainted by the Urban Meyer era, right? So he's basically, let's say that's -1 year of experience. He is still a fetus in terms of franchise quarterback terms. This dude hasn't even come out of the womb yet. He's still trying to shake off all the goo and nonsense from Urban Meyer, just destroying his offense, picking it apart. So you know what? Get him some help, too. They're going to have a great draft pick. Go out and get Jackson Smith and Jigba. Go out and get Keyshawn Booth. Go get someone who can be that wide receiver 1. Make Christian Kirk your wide receiver 2. And then let's talk about how Trevor Lawrence looks out there.
That was very graphic.
Very graphic. Next up, we have sort of the surprise QB, Davis Mills and the Texans.
Failure? I mean, failure in the sense he's like an average quarterback. He's probably never going to be a guy that, you build your team around or you write home about.
I'm going to go neither. He's just kind of boring Gardner Minshew. He's just kind of in the middle. He's not going to stop the Texans from taking a quarterback if they get a top 2 pick.
All right, next up, we have San Francisco quarterback Trey Lance, who has not really gotten that much playing time.
Yeah, I'm going to hold off on a definitive judgment. I'm going to play the middle again here too, where he hasn't played enough. When he does get healthy again next year from recovering from his broken ankle, that's when I think we can make a definitive judgment. I do think his development is probably going to be a little stunted, so we won't see him fully become a player until maybe year 4 at this rate.
Oh, franchise. I love the fit in San Francisco so much. He doesn't have to do a ton. He doesn't have to be a heavy lifter, but he can be. This is a guy who can throw those home run passes downfield. He's a guy who can escape pressure in the pocket and run for it. And yeah, we've barely seen him. In fact, the game we saw the most of him was a monsoon in Chicago, and he sucked. But he can definitely be that guy. I just hope he doesn't get Zach Wilson and all of a sudden all his tools fall apart. He becomes this steaming pile of acid and garbage and hair.
All right, next up we have the newest starter of this crew, Sam Ehlinger, Colts starting quarterback now.
I'm going to go failure for now. Let's just wait. There's a reason he waited a little bit more in the draft, but let's wait a little bit now. So I'll just say failure by default.
Yeah, I mean, it's he's a Colts quarterback. He's probably going to be a failure to begin with because that's kind of what they do. Listen, Sam Ehlinger wasn't that good at Texas. Like you said, there's a reason he slipped to the 6th round. But can he be a good enough passer to stick around for a while? Can he show enough to be, let's say, Colt McCoy 2.0? Yeah.
I think the perfect example is the person he went up against just this past week, Taylor Heineke. Backup, comes in, could possibly win you some games, but you're not going to invest much into him.
Yeah, exactly.
Last up, the guy who kind of dropped in the draft, and we talked about him last week, Mac Jones. Is he a franchise or is he a failure?
gonna get a big thumbs down from me. I don't see much game-changing play from him. I see a glorified game manager. I see a guy who can spin the ball, occasionally make a tight window throw. But this is not a guy that's going to have to lift the Patriots. The Patriots need someone that can actually lift their offense. He can. I have confidence that he can get the ball to weapons like Jacoby Myers. But is he going to beat Josh Allen? Is he going to beat Joe Burrow? Is he going to beat Patrick Mahomes? No.
I'm gonna go the opposite. I'm gonna say he's still a franchise guy because he's growing. He's making the right reads. His blocking sucks right now, but what he should be doing is taking way more negative plays. If he wasn't growing, they would have lost to the Jets, right? He would have had more turnovers. He would have taken more sacks. Instead, he was just kind of a non-factor, and that's fine because they still got the win. That's a Bill Belichick thing. Bill Belichick can scheme around that. You can be a franchise guy for Bill Belichick, just kind of being neutral and occasionally making some big plays. That's what Mac Jones did last week, and he's still growing. He can still get better and better and better. They just need to build around him a little bit more. And we're not just talking about that wide receiver core that always perpetually kind of sucks. We're talking about the offensive line where both tackles are garbage. And Cole Strange, the guy they reach for in round one, can't go a game without committing multiple blatant, terrible penalties.